Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Coffee and Beans podcast. How was your day? How are you? How was your week? Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for everyone who followed on our social media platforms. We're absolutely overwhelmed by the love. I appreciate many more episodes coming. Thank you for everyone who made a comment on our previous episodes. We appreciate the love. Keep them coming. Today is a special episode, very special episode to me because, first of all, it took what it took for me personally to get my guest on this podcast was a lot. And we've been on different platforms together, but this particular one is special to me because here I can ask him all kinds of questions. He's my mentor. He's my brother, like my real life brother. He's someone I look up to. I talk to. I seek advice on a lot of issues, and I can't wait, and I'm sure you can't wait to dig in and listen to our conversation because it's going to be really, really awesome. On today's episode, I have Mr. Adedoyin Balogun. He's the CEO, creative director of Baldon Clothiers. Baldon is a menswear brand based in Abuja. So you can imagine, we are doing this recording in Lagos, and he came all the way from Abuja. Like I said, it took a lot to bring him here. So, welcome, Mr. B.
Thank you very much, sir.
We call him bros. Like I said, he's my real life brother. We're four siblings, and he's the very first. And so, he's a trendsetter in many ways. So, like I said, we call him bros. How did I come about it? His name is Doyin. So when we were a lot younger, our parents just woke up one day and said, "You have to start calling your brother Doyin. And in my mind, I'm like, brother Doyin, for someone that we've been calling Doyin from when we. And so, me being the rebel that I am, I said, no, I can't call him that. I'll have to look for a very funky way to address him. And I think that's how that stuck. And you know, we've done different. I think sometimes his wife calls him Bros D too. We've tried to funkify it from Bros D to Bros D, y'all, to the Bros man. But he's here. He's been in the fashion business from since 1999. Am I correct, sir?
1999, maybe 1999-ish, because we started from university.
Yes.
So I think it's somewhere around 97,
Wow.
96, 97.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, we both know I would get to the business side, but I just want to for those of us, of course, I know this story, but I mean, for those of us who don't know this story, I'm going to pick his brain and just take it all the way back. So, Bros D, how was growing up like? I know you spent the greater part of your growing up in the north, but how was growing up like? Well, the major part of like your formative years ish. But how would you say growing up was like?
I think for me, I had quite a balanced childhood. Balanced in the sense that as early as 4 years, I was shipped up to UK. That's way before
This Jackpa.
Yeah, shipped up to UK. Way before my other siblings were born. That's you, Dayo, and Tola.
Yeah.
And returned at about 9. So I spent about 4.5 years in UK.
So did you know what was going on? Like, did you ask questions? Did they tell you what you were going to do? What was the ultimate plan? Was it to like get citizenship or what?
No, there was actually the ultimate plan at that time was not to get citizenship.
What was it to do?
Because I remember they tricked me, and I use that word responsibly, into coming back. And I think the greatest fear they had was
You joined bad gang.
I wouldn't want to come back.
Okay.
Of course, we had family friends who were much older than me, and they had stated categorically that they were not coming back to Nigeria, especially because they were old enough once they were 18. So I think the fear of a child not coming back home, you know, was one of the things that prodded them to say, no, let this guy come back. On return, I went to American International School, Lagos. Then came the big one. And now went to Command Secondary School.
Jos, by the way.
So the culture shock at the extreme ends, you know, from extreme Ajay to extreme
Paco, in fact.
You know, then of course University of Jos. But I think for me, like, because I have very, very strong beliefs and roots in God, and as a practicing Christian, like Paul, I can say I've learned to abound and to abase. So looking back, I think, and I not just think, I know that the sum total of my childhood prepared me for where I am today.
Right now.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, so I mingle and dine with the rich and sing with the poor and sing with the... So it gives me a balanced perspective, you know, to life. You know, so I'm very, very grateful. No regrets whatsoever.
Okay, so I wanted to ask a question regarding Jos. Like, how was it like? How was growing up in the North? Like juxtaposing it against the North now. Are there always been these crises, or are we just knowing about it now because we're a democratic system and there's more social media? There's more. Are there always been the rancor and the unsettlement, like all of that, in the North, or is it new, in quote?
So I think it's for Jos, and
yes.
I think I can speak about Jos.
How long did you spend in Jos?
Cumulatively, we have a 6 and a 7, about 13 years.
So you did secondary school and university in Jos. Was it planned?
It wasn't planned. Okay, so university, I had 2 options. I had the Lorry and Jos. And so I remember going to Lorry, and I just saw the distance from...
Oh, you went there?
Yes, I saw the distance from the gate to the main campus. And I said, this place, I don't even know anybody. I said, no. So of course, Jos was familiar territory, and of course, just the nature of man, you want to stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Of course, and there were people that had left secondary school that were already in Jos, so you knew that it was familiar territory,
right.
Familiar terrain. So it was just natural that since I had the option of choice. I would choose Jos. Yeah. So it was
okay.
That was how Jos came about.
Okay. So back to the question. Like how are there always been?
No, Jos was extremely peaceful, extremely calm. You had a very large population of foreigners because of the weather.
Wow.
You know, Jos was. The average Jos person was
chilled.
Is just chilled, happy-go-lucky. They don't have chill. They don't have any worries. You know, it's largely a civil service town.
Yeah.
So you can be sure that by 3:30, people are on their way back home. You know, later on, the men go to the local joint to take burukutu.
Yeah.
You know, that I think that was just the major. There was really nothing. I mean, maybe that was also their undoing, that they were too chill to see that there was oncoming danger. You know, the average Jos who are Birom, you know, they don't have any, and they're very hospitable, very, very, very hospitable people, very accommodating, very hospitable. The place was very tranquil, very, very peaceful, you know, and just the weather alone just made
you feel like you were...
Yes, you know, and I still have very, very fond memories.
Have you been to Jos since you left school?
Yeah, so when I went back for my 25 years reunion, and it was a shadow of itself.
The school or the city itself?
The city had tried to move on, but there were apparent divisions.
Divisions,
so there
yeah.
are places Muslims don't
Go to.
and build. There are places Christians. It never used to be like that.
Like that, yeah.
Especially because our students were very adventurous. So I mean, there were no place that were out of bounds. Now you get to hear that, there's a community behind the university called Angwan-Rogo. Now I hear that you can't even pass through Angwan-Rogo as a thoroughfare. It's shortcuts to the hostel.
Wow.
You know, if you do anything you see, you're on your own. And I'm like, when did it become this bad? It was never like this. You know, but it's what it is.
It is what it is.
You
so
know?
then, after then, I mean, you lived in Abuja, but I know that there's a backstory to that. So after school, so when did your business start?
So my business started during the ASU strike.
Everybody started business during
ASU strike.
Which of the strikes?
So Jos was very notorious because after the federal strikes, you now had the internal strikes. So we could do 6 months, 7 months as a stretch. We were balling like that, you know. And I think the one that really broke the camel's back
yeah.
was when the then commander-in-chief, that was
Abacha, yeah.
And he said, he's going to sack all the lecturers. And we were at home. It was indefinite because he was saying, they were going to get foreign lecturers, and he was calling their bluff. I mean, that in itself was like, okay. And growing up in a kind of strict family, it's difficult to say, okay, so they've given you maybe 5,000 naira, and you say, it's exhausted, I need more money.
I remember these were the days where there was no mobile phone.
So you know the amount of words you will hear
before you get any
more money. And I said no. For something I didn't know how long it would end, it would be on for. I needed to have some form of earnings for myself. And that's how it started. So there's this lady, a very good friend of mine. She used to be known as Dupe Ifonse. Now she's married, based in UK. And her mom just came back from US and she had T-shirts for sale. I remember very clearly. So I was like, okay, give me some. So she gave me 6. Let me try my hands on it. And I was able to sell off the 6. I said, okay.
So question, why didn't you want to come back to Lagos?
Why didn't you want to come back? Why didn't you want to come back to Lagos?
Yes, knowing fully well that there was no end to the strike.
No, I was in Lagos.
Oh, you're in Lagos? Okay.
Yes, I was in Lagos.
Okay.
No, the strike, we were all home.
Yes.
Because the university was shut.
Right.
So I was in Lagos. So my mom brought some T-shirts. Okay, let me have. Sold the first 6. Noticed that there was a demand and sold the second 6. So I sold another 6. So I said, okay, I need more. She said, no, that's 8. I said, no, that can't be 8. We need more. I need more. People are on my neck. And she's like, no, it's exhausted. And Mom still probably won't travel again until next year.
Wow.
And I think that's when the entrepreneur in me, the entrepreneur spirit really kick in. That, okay, there must be a way now, So I said, okay. And went to Tejo show. Then it hadn't been burnt.
Yeah.
Went to Tejo show. And
for my viewers outside Nigeria or Lagos, Tejo show is or was a very popular complex in Yaba, the metropolis, where they sold all sort of clothes and stuff. Yeah. So
garments, accessories,
fabrics and stuff.
So went there, and I was able to find some fantastic fabric. So I said, okay. I'd always had an eye for detail and putting pieces together. So I shopped for everything. It was now shopping for the Walkman.
Yeah.
And as fate would have it, there was a Walkman that was not too far off from my mom's store in Alagomeji. That's Yaba also.
Too, yeah.
And that's how we started. The side hustle.
Yes, so
that has become the main hustle.
The main hustle now. So let me segue. Let me take one from that. So did you always know you had entrepreneurial spirit, or did the strike did the strike bring, or did the strike like provoke that in you? For instance, if you ended up doing university in the UK, do you think you'll be doing clothing now? Because of course there's nothing like strikes or anything.
Yes, so I might not have been doing clothing, but then again I might. That's one. But I strongly believe that I would have something to do
with fashion, art,
with the creative,
okay.
with creative. And I say that because while in primary school, I remember I made a house. We used cartons, made a house, and it was auctioned.
Primary school in the UK?
Yes, in UK.
Oh, okay.
That's Kingsgate. Kingsgate, in fact, is off Kilburn High Road.
Okay.
So I remember it was auctioned, and the proceeds went to charity for the school. So looking back as I became older, I appreciate the fact that, this spark of creativity had always been there, and it was just tying together. Fashion has just given me
an expression,
a medium of expression. Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so back to why Abuja? Did Abuja choose you, or did you choose Abuja?
No, I did it. So let me put it on record. I tell people every time that I never chose Abuja, and there's a lady that knows the full story. So when my first posting came, I think I was posted to Anambra.
Yeah.
And I said, nope. The posting came out late November, I think early December. I said, nope. I already had orders, and the government cannot just come and disrupt my plans, because they were the ones that kept postponing. And I remember my mom just watching in awe that, are you okay? When you're not going for your NYSC, I'll defer it.
But was NYSC, like, some people that they know that they're not going to work for anybody, like, right. So, what's the point of doing NYSC? But why was it important for you to go for UTEC? Was it your choice or choice of our parents?
No, so my parents didn't force it, because when I was deferring it, they just watched from afar. Now, I need to quickly put a rejoinder. My dad was not in support.
Yes, sir.
What he wanted me to do was, look, after reading pure and applied chemistry, really, yes, what can you do with pure and applied chemistry? You are still young, so would you go back and read medicine?
Because that was what he wanted you to read from the get-go.
Exactly. Yes. So it was medicine. And when fashion found me, and I really liked what I was doing, not for the money, I just loved it. I loved the fact that people wore my pieces, people were happy. That for me was $1 million. So I had to man up, and so the conversation starts and said, so between Ife, I remember between Ife, Ibadan, and the lag, which would you like to do your
NYSC?
No. To do medicine.
Oh, medicine. Oh, okay.
So that's why
So he wanted you to do another jam.
No,
like another entry.
No, because I had a.
You had a degree. Okay.
I would start second year.
Like direct entry.
Direct entry.
Kind of. Okay.
And I said, okay, So I've been meaning to have this conversation with you, and actually, I think I'd really want to give this garment thing, this tailoring, a shot.
A shot.
And I literally saw my dad's eyes turn red, literally. And for the period before I was to leave the house, I remember he did not talk to me, and I was invisible. So
leave the house for youth service. For youth service, okay.
So of course, if I was to go in for second degree, I wouldn't need youth service.
Oh yes, of course, because you would have passed the age of exemption.
No. If I was to go in for second degree, I wouldn't need youth service until I finished second degree.
You finished second degree, yes.
So there was probably no pressure. I think that's why there was no pressure on me.
Right.
So I deferred it, and I met this fantastic lady then. Her name then was Kai Gamde. Now she's Kai Oga, Mrs. And we made some items for her. She was so thrilled. Then there was a Continental Trust Bank. Continental Trust Bank was one of the new generation banks.
In Lagos or Abuja?
she came to Lagos,
Okay.
but she was based in Abuja.
You're not giving all the story. You said you the first time you deferred your.
I deferred it.
You deferred it.
Yes, so I deferred it that I wasn't going to go.
Okay. Yes.
So that's why I have to bring up the issue of Kai.
Kai. Okay.
So when Kai came for training, she came for training in the head office. We met through a mutual friend, Josephine. Oh, this guy does some fantastic stuff. Oh, really? Okay, could you make some work for me? And I did that, and like, wow. Abuja then was just really, you know, coming up, pretty virgin. And I'm like, okay, why not? She loved it. And said, we need more of you in Abuja. And I said, no, I'll remain in Lagos. But I don't know if you could do me a favor. I'm meant to go for my NYSC. I've deferred it, but I really like to be in Lagos because I have a lot of things going on. And she said, jokingly, she said, oh, no, I'm going to ensure that they post you to Abuja.
And that's what happened.
And I said, no, I want to be in Lagos, please.
So what brought you to Abuja before?
So apparently there were two of us that she was trying to
recruit,
help with deployment. One wanted Abuja, I wanted Lagos. But the person she gave the names to swap them.
Wow.
Yeah. Swap them, and that's how I ended up in Abuja.
In Abuja.
But I was not done. In the camp, I specifically wrote for redeployment to Lagos.
What did you tell them your reason was?
I just said I wanted to redeploy to Lagos. And
to just look at you like this.
And everybody thought I was crazy because everybody wanted Abuja. People wanted Abuja. People were lobbying for Abuja. People were paying. I said, no, I didn't want Abuja. I wanted Lagos, you know. Of course, I had a team of 3 tailors, you know. I'd had the small kitty of clientele, you know, of clients, you know. So I was happy. In my own little kingdom.
Yeah, you're the king.
You're the king. You understand? And as if God wanted to give me a knock, the redeployment was
not granted.
It was granted.
Back to Lagos?
No.
Okay, to Abuja.
Kwara.
For real though?
Kwara. You never heard this part? Kwara.
Wow.
Aha. And at that point, I had to now repent.
See.
And I had to say, God, sorry. You know, I frantically went back to beg the staff and everything. It took me about 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, for them to redeploy me back to Abuja. And I had to forfeit the 3 months
3
allowance.
months allowance, yeah.
You know, but it was
enough lesson.
It was enough lesson. You know, so I knew that there was something in Abuja that God wanted me to. Yes.
So how did you know? Okay, so when, of course, after the redeployment and everything, your 1 year was over. You had built a clientele. How did you know that? Okay, this is where I want you to stay.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear a voice?
Fantastic. Excellent. So during my service year, I was shuttling Lagos Abuja.
Yes.
And I would take the night bus.
Every 2 weeks?
In fact, a week and a half.
A week and a half, yes, I remember.
You know, I would take the night bus. And I remember sometimes I never even used to come home. I would sleep, I would just have my shower in the park and go to the island, the contract tailors I was working with, get my stuff from them and go back. Because then again, I was meant to be serving. So what might tell my father that I was doing, you know? He was not already in support. Don't forget that we were not on talking terms.
Yes, sir.
Good. So I was treading very, very, very
carefully.
Exactly. And I remember very clearly, one of those days, I heard it absolutely, it was crystal clear. Tinubu Square, to be precise, in a hot afternoon. And I heard, you're going to settle in Abuja.
Wow.
I felt extremely uncomfortable within me. Extremely uncomfortable.
Okay. So hold that thought.
Yes.
Now, so you've checked and you see that in the trajectory of my life, God has been orchestrating.
Absolutely.
There was UK.
Yes.
There was JOS.
Yes. There was AIS.
There was AIS.
Yes.
There was JOS.
Yes.
Wasn't there something that was telling you that if God tell you, say, make you day here, you are good.
Okay, so, we are human beings first.
Yes.
And it takes us building and working with God to hone our spiritual senses. As of now, I don't claim to know it all or have all the answers, but I know that I fear God, and that helps me and keeps me in check, in a lot of ways. Now, when I heard that voice, that this was I was, and I didn't hear anything again. So I remember going back. I had a small store in Unilag then, and I remember going back and asking my team of tailors. I said, "Please, there's an issue. There's an issue." They said, "What's that?" And I said, "This is what I heard." And they said, "Oh, am I just knowing that they've known since that I'll settle in Abuja?"
Wow.
So it was a confirmation, but it was also a shocker. It was a shocker that how can you know before me?
Before me, wait, I mean, think
of things. But it just confirmed. So I said, okay. Now, as Abuja is very expensive, and Abuja is very hostile. So I say this cautiously. Abuja has been good to me, no regrets. But the fear of a young man starting life in Abuja, it can be quite daunting. Accommodation costs, it's not like Lagos. Accommodation is over the top.
Yeah.
Same also is shop space, rental space, right? So how much did I have? I pulled my Alawi together for a year, then made a bit of sales here and there, Where do I start from? Which is why, for me, the Gamdes, shout out to Mr. Fanya Gamde, architect par excellence, Kai and Pai, they are twins. There's Kai, there's Pai, and Lami, their elder sister, who just said, I squatted with them in my service here, and post-service, they still allowed me stay.
Wow.
If you understand how Abuja works, you know that is huge.
That was favor.
That is huge. It's huge, huge, huge. These are people that don't have any blood ties, only the love of Christ.
Love of Christ, yeah.
So for that, and to them, I remain eternally grateful, because it gave me that pedestal, that platform to put myself together before launching out.
Okay, so I want to also, I like cleaning stories. So in this new relocation wave, yours was Lagos to Abuja. For people that are wondering, should I move? Should I not move? Should I wait for God? Should I take the first step? What would you say? You have people that of course there's a head mentality. A lot of people that are moving to Canada, moving to the UK because everybody is moving. There are also people that will say, but God has not told me anything. I want to stay. But all my family members are going. And they're asking, what are you still doing here? Why not bounce? What do you say? What do you advise? As someone who literally had to move, uproot yourself from...
So, the grass is not always greener.
Okay.
And I have a very good friend of mine, who relocated to Canada and has relocated back to Nigeria. The grass is not always greener. First and foremost, things might be tough, things might be tight, things might not be going the way we want. It takes a lot to be a Nigerian. That's the honest truth. It takes a lot. But in it lies amazing opportunities, amazing people, amazing talents. Someday, I strongly believe that we'll get our acts together. And those of us that choose to remain would have the first mover's advantage. It's tough, and sometimes, even as a business person, it's difficult to see the ray of light. But we must, against all odds, keep hope alive.
Yeah.
That is one thing we have going for us. As long as we have life, we should have hope. And like I said, things might not always pan out the way you want them to be, especially in this part of the world. But just hang in there. It's dangerous, to just jump because everybody's jumping. And when people oftentimes tell me they want to relocate, while I wish you well and I wish them well, I'll always ask why. There are not necessarily better opportunities over there. And by God's privilege, I've done a bit of traveling myself. And I know that some people are working their asses off. A lot of people, not some.
But some will say they want to move for just to have a semblance of sanity.
Sanity is a relative term. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're working two shifts and you are working in -4, -3, -10 degree temperatures, which as an African, this is alien to you. There's something known as acquired taste. Just even the food that you were brought up with. These are things that could cause sickness. And some people say, "Oh, it doesn't matter." It matters. I've heard people say, "Oh, I'm doing it for the kids."
For the kids, yeah, that's like the famous response.
But you see, guess what? Who did it for you? No. Why you can give? We need to stop trying to prepare life for our kids and prepare our kids for life. All right? You can't have... I have a very, very rich and healthy clientele, in our kitty. And one of them is a major general serving, And he said, "Look, my son can never become a general." And I'm like, "Sir, what?" He said, "My son is over-pampered."
Wow.
My son is overindulged. He said, "Why I am hanging the rank today is because of my hunger. It's because of the background of poverty.
Yeah.
It's because I needed to break the cycle in my family. So I knew that I had to make it.
Yeah.
My son does not have that hunger. My son does not see the need." So when we try to make a life for our kids, we actually kill them.
Are you ever angry with Momsi and Popsi that they didn't let you stay in the UK?
I know better. So I know that it's all part of a bigger plan.
Part of a bigger plan, yeah, of course.
Would I have met my wife? Would I have had the fantastic kids I have? Would I? So many would I's. So many would I's. Looking back, I see that God is a master planner.
Yep.
And everything he orchestrates it. So would Joseph have loved to be sold into slavery?
Definitely not.
Exactly. Gone to prison?
Definitely not. But maybe he wouldn't have been prime minister if he didn't go through all of that.
There we go.
Yeah.
So there's always a trajectory and a pathway. And when we don't follow through the process, we don't get the results.
We don't get the result. Wow, nice, profound. So now, I was gonna thank you for that. I'm meaning to ask you that. I just wondering how I was gonna plug that in some way. Anyways, so how easy or otherwise was it moving all your everything to Abuja? Did you lose clients by virtue of the move?
Yes, you would lose clients. A ship must lose sight of the shore to set a sail.
Word.
Then there was no phones.
Yes.
So it was difficult. Now you can actually keep your clients because there's
WhatsApp call,
a lot of things. But it was a sacrifice. You're going from known to unknown, really. I had quite a lot of people in banks in Lagos, and you were moving to unknown territory, in quotes. On the premise of God said that I
should move.
It sounds a bit crazy, Abraham showed me move to a land. The guy was moving when he was 75 with his family and an army of a battalion of people.
Yes, so.
Okay, where are we going to?
Don't worry.
Just the waka. More just go. At 75, if it's in Yoruba parlance, Agbaya. As in, but it's a step of faith. And you know that when you have a relationship with God, you might not know how, you might not know when, you might not know where, but just trust him. Trust him. The truth of the matter is, you really can't do anything. You really can't do business. You really can't, even having a family without a working knowledge.
Yeah, without faith, true.
You know, how do you know you're going to make any sale? How do you know you're going to close a deal? When you open your store, how do you know? Why do you wake up in the morning? What is the assurance? There is none, really.
Yeah.
We make plans for tomorrow. How do you know you're going to wake up tomorrow?
Wow.
How do you know? But you just have a belief. You are saving. How do you know you're going to be able to spend the money, to save the money till December? How do you know? That vacation, how do you know? You never know.
Never know, yeah.
Because tomorrow...
it's not guaranteed.
Exactly. Only today. And that's why it's called the present.
Wow.
You know, so... with a step of faith, now, I need to also create a balance. Because it's not just about being spiritually wise and earthly foolish. So I need to create a balance. In my service here, I had seen prospects.
Right.
All right. So we had seen the bankers, they would order for shirts. I knew that, anywhere I was, I needed to be back in Abuja 21st to 24th.
To collect the funds.
When people collect salaries. So I'd seen that, there was I don't know that I told you that I got an offer with MTN. Did I tell you that?
Oh, no.
Aha. Okay. So, to the tail end of my service...
Did you drop a CV there?
Hold on. To the tail... I've never dropped a CV.
Exactly.
Anyway. So, tail end of my service here, the telecom companies are settling in. They want to start rolling out in Abuja and Lagos. Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, but it was...
This was
Lagos,
2001?
Yes, it was Lagos first, then Abuja.
Yeah.
So, a client of mine, called me that, you're about running up your service here. I said, yes. He said, hey, okay, what did you finish with? I told her, I said, okay. I should go to Hilton. I remember very clearly. Go to Hilton. They are conducting interviews.
But you didn't tell her you wanted a job?
They just felt that
young man.
You're selling shirts.
You can do better now.
You need to get a job. This is not a job. Just get serious with your life. And I told her, I said, that I don't need a job. I'm already employed. And she looked at me and I said, but is the offer still open? And she said, yes. So I told a friend of mine that was serving together, she served in the bank, that, look, Loretta,
let's go.
There's
an opening.
They're conducting interviews, at the Hilton. And she said, okay, what of you? I said, no, I'm not interested. She said, you're not interested. I said, yes, I already have what I'm doing now. Because when she served, they're not going to retain her.
Yeah.
I said, so I think it's better you take the offer. It didn't add up to her, but she got the job.
She's still with MTN?
No, she's left. She got the job, and I think she worked with MTN for almost 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you need to have some form of knowing.
Yeah.
You need to have some level of conviction.
What gave you that confidence that this shirt thing I'm doing, it go blow? How?
Okay, so during the ASU strike, I remember when I needed money, and I'm like, to go and meet these my people, to go and a problem. And I remember praying that, God, but you see, you're going to bless me now. Then we had a fellowship we used to attend every Friday. It's called TGIF. The convener then, Pastor Chooks, he's now in South Africa. There are so many of us that he groomed then, and we used to meet at Yaba.
Still this Yaba again.
Horse Memorial, and those were times where the word is just pumped into you, and you never really know, when you need it. So one of these days, I was asking God that, how far now? This T-shirt, can it take me far? And I heard, CS a man diligent.
Just stand before kings.
So I said, okay.
And segue, this man has actually stood before kings. So let's just put it out there. Okay.
So I said, okay. He said, and I remember saying that it's not by virtue of what you do, it is the blessing. So you need to have something you're doing. He said, whatever your hand findeth to do,
will prosper.
Now, 3 scriptures I was given. I'm the Lord, my God. I'm the one I give you power to get wealth. Okay. He said, diligence. Says a man diligent
in his work.
He will serve before
kings.
He said, whatsoever thy hands findeth to do it with all your strength. And that's why I'm very passionate about what I do. I carry it on my head. It's not about the money. I carry it on my head, literally, because I ran with, and I'm still running with those scriptures, So what do you, as an entrepreneur, as a young person, as an older person, I want to ask you, what are you running on? What's your sustenance? What word have you heard. From God, from your creator, not from the pastor? What one-on-one has God told you that gives you the impetus, that gives you the boldness, that gives you the audacity to take that leap? Because it's important. You can't really run far on another person's word.
Yep.
You need to have your own revelation. You need to have your own rema. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. You must have a personal conviction, which is why when I'm mentoring people, I also ask them, what is your why? Because a lot of times people want to do things because other people are doing it. I need to know your why. Because when chips are down, it is the why that will keep you going.
Okay, so I was asking that, the moving to, did you disband your Lagos setup? Did you, did you have tailors that wanted to follow you? So how was it? Was it a gradual disbandment?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it was gradual. In fact, I thought I could handle both together. And I remember I had a counseling session with Pastor Olumide Emmanuel.
Oh, this of Calvary Bible Church?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I remember I had a session with him, and I was troubled in my spirit, and he told me point blank, he said, you need to relocate to Abuja.
Move everything.
Baba. Do you know what you're asking of me? It's just like when Jesus told the rich guy to say, sell
all your belongings.
And I'm like, sir? And say, that's it.
Because I'm thinking, how were you able to do it? Like, I remember when I was juggling my paid employment work and self, and I thought I was doing a good job, but then it was my boss that called me and said, guy, it's like, you want to kill yourself, Abi. Whatever it is you're doing is distracting you, so I'm either going to fire you or I'll sack you. So at that point, how was the meeting with the tailors like when you told them that, man, guys?
No, now don't forget that a year or two before then, they had also confirmed that they knew I was going.
So they had prepared their mind.
There we go.
Say, Oga, your guy is ready to bounce at any time. Okay.
So what just happened was that I kept like a workstation in Lagos, and I was trying to see how I could set up something, no matter how small, in Abuja. So I was now shuttling. All right.
Wow. What else was bringing you to Lagos apart from your workstation? Your clients?
Yeah, that's it. But I now started having more clients in Abuja.
In Abuja, no, of course, because you're spending more time in Abuja.
Yeah. So the prospects and opportunity for Abuja was humongous.
Humongous, yeah.
Yeah. So that's just it.
Okay, so tell us how you got your first store. I remember it was in the market, but I mean, tell us.
Okay, so
walk us through.
So one of my friends, my bosom friend, he's now a director general in one of the parastatals in Cross River, John Etimbase. He was into furniture. He's an architect. And he had this double store he had set up, to display his furniture in Garki
Model Market.
Model Market, yes. And towards the tail end of my service here, he said he was moving out. He needed a bigger space, and he wanted something on the main road. Am I interested?
Are you?
What kind of
question is that?
And I remember he said,
he was also your customer too.
Yes, and I remember he said, "No, I'm not going to give you the double. I still want to keep one.
Yeah.
So I think it was 70,000 naira. I think that was the amount then.
Per annum.
Yes, for the half store size.
What year was this? 2000 and...
That was about, I think, 2001.
Okay.
After my 2001, I think it was 2001, 2002.
Oh, okay.
2002. And I said, I'm interested, So I paid him in bits as money was coming in. Of course, money for allowance, I used it to start doing the renovation. Yeah. All this, I didn't tell my dad. So later he said, you know what? I'm leaving this place completely.
Both.
So you need to balance me for the second store. So I said, okay, you know what? I will do that, but give me a bit of time.
Had you started operations in the first one?
No, we're just setting up. We're just renovating.
Okay.
So at the time we wanted to now do the launch, that was sometime in September, if I'm not mistaken, of the place. I'd been sewing. My team in Lagos had been preparing making
PCs and all that.
So my dad now said, have you not finished NYSC? I said, yes, sir. In fact, I wanted to see you again. So I'm sure the man was wondering, why is that? Every time
you call me, I want to see.
That I want to, I said, why are you not back? So to my mom that, it seems this your son is joining bad gang. Because I don't see what he's doing in Abuja. He's not finished NYSC, So, and I said, yes, actually, I'm opening
a store
in about a fortnight. And then he told me that I'm actually beginning to think you're a bastard, that you're going to have to go and look for your father. Because how will you tell me,
after all the money I spent,
just 2 weeks, before you open, that you're opening? And I told him, I said, first and foremost, you didn't believe it.
Also, he wasn't mad that you were opening a store. No, he wasn't mad that you were going to open. He was mad that you didn't tell him you were opening a store.
I didn't tell him in time. I told him just at the tail end.
At the tail end, okay.
And one thing is, and this is also a learning curve. Maybe Joseph's route to the palace
could have been shorter
and less torturous.
If he wasn't blabbering.
Exactly. So oftentimes we must learn how to decipher to keep our dreams, our visions of glory until a set time. So I just said, look, I didn't need any distraction. I didn't need any discouragement. I wanted to do this. And I was doing it with my funds. And I was happy. I was happy because I didn't take any money from him. Yeah. So I think that in itself was also a problem, because I think he was also expecting me at some point in time to come to my senses.
Be like...
and come cap in hand and say, okay, Zaid, I'm sorry, I'm going to read the medicine. But it never came. Rather, I've been the one that had the privilege and opportunity to sow back into his life.
Yeah.
So looking back, I told him that this was what happened and I didn't want any discouragement, and the rest,
as they say, is history. So so how's the journey been? Because I know you're on your third store.
Yes.
Third in this. Yeah, third store.
Yes.
How's the journey been in terms of staying focused? I remember there are so many fashion designers. I remember I mentioned that Baldon was my mentor, right? So I kind of know the story and everything. So Kesa Jabari. So you found that there are a lot of big names that don't stay big for long. Have you been able to stay the course? Like, of course, I'm sure you've had some people say, oh, let's do this business together or let's do this together. But you probably tell yourself, oh, I want to stay on the fashion route.
Okay, so it still goes back to your why.
Okay.
You need to have... So even the Bible talks about we know in part.
Yeah.
All right? So I wouldn't tell you that I know everything about my life. But the little you know, hold it tight. All right? That's one. That way you won't be swayed to and fro. All right? It's important that you have some form of foundation in with your creator. It's absolutely non-negotiable.
It's important, yeah.
So now, it's funny you mentioned Kesa Jabari because Kesa Jabari was someone I looked up to from afar.
Yeah.
And at a point we were close. I was almost, they used to there are people you call studio rats. I think I was almost turning to a.
He had a studio in Yaba.
Absolutely.
Or Muritala Mohammed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember.
So I was always in awe of the kind of arrangement, how somebody could use tailoring and get, a duplex. That was crazy. Then another person I doffed my hat for also was David Kolawole Vaughan, popularly known as Dakova.
Yeah. He's in Abuja with you then?
No, he's
back in Lagos. Oh, okay.
And these two gentlemen, aside from people like Uncle Larry Ogunlesi,
Sophisticated.
yes, Mr. Godwin Mekunye, that's Vivid Imagination. These were brands that held sway. And I looked at these brands. Some I was closer to than others. And I was able to get points for and against. So for every brand, there's something that they're doing that is working.
Yeah.
And there's something that they're doing that may not be working. It's left for you to cherry pick.
Take what's important, take what you need. And
there we go. And now add yours to it and take ownership.
So I have a question. Can a brand remain relevant for... No, a lifetime is pushing it.
A lifetime is not pushing it.
Okay.
A lifetime is not pushing it.
So question, why don't Nigerian brands, why aren't Nigeria... So you find out that there's some, especially in the areas, in the advent of social media, this brand is everywhere. For 5 years, you don't hear of them again. Another brand steps up. They're everywhere. Every celebrities are wearing it, and then you don't hear again. So it's like, so what is a Christian Dior, Dolce Gabbana?
Fantastic.
What are they doing that we aren't doing?
Excellent. Brilliant. And I'll tell you, there are lots of things. Number one, the problem is never to start or starting small. The challenge is remaining small. All right?
Yeah.
It's important that you yourself, you are true to yourself.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people that have made fantastic success of their lives, of their brands, but they lack depth of character. You can't go far without character. Character is a trump card.
And talent is never enough.
Talent is never enough. Character is a trump card. So let's not forget that every business endeavor is just an elongated shadow of your personality. All right?
Right.
So if your character is not in sync, there are core values, discipline, dedication, just being polite. So you have a couple of millions and you think you can just be rude, or you think you are too big. There are core. There's the core that made you. You never deviate from your core. If you do, you will lose your results. All right? That's one. Two is you must know how to reinvent yourself per time.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
We started with shirts.
Yeah.
I still love shirts. I'm still passionate about shirts. But guess what? We've moved into
other things. Yeah.
You understand? We've moved into footwear. We've moved into suits. We've moved into kaftans. All right? So you must learn how to evolve so you don't become a dinosaur. All right? 3, you must seek to improve yourself. You must seek constant knowledge seeking. So I've been privileged to go to the Enterprise Development Center, EDC, under Lagos Business School. 2 fantastic courses, and I've done another one, Oxfam. These are never expenditures. They are investments that keep on giving. So you must understand that, look, whatever success you are seeing today, it pales into insignificance what could be if you
didn't.
Because if you know better,
you do better.
Right. So are you reinventing yourself? Are you just happy? The biggest enemy of future success is your present success. And when you bask in the euphoria of that present success, you lose sight of what can be.
Right.
So you need to keep up that hunger. Like what the general said, You know, he said, because I have a hunger and a thirst. You need to constantly ensure and engage yourself, you know, that this is you and you. Not, if you listen to what people say, oh, you've done very well, and allow it get to you.
Boss.
Exactly.
Chairman.
You know as a beginner, you know, you will miss the mark.
Yeah.
It's important that while not saying you should be hard on yourself, you should know there's always a place called forward.
Forward, yeah.
There's always something called next. There's always something called more. You know, there's always a bigger picture.
Okay. So what's your relationship with your colleagues in the fashion business, especially in Abuja? I know that the competition there is thick. Like, are they your friends? Do you okay, I'm trying to handle. Do you see them? Do you like compare notes, or do they serve as inspiration? Or is it that, man, make every man day in deal? Or but like, are they? Do they inspire you? Or do you just say, man, let this guy be on his lane? I'm saying, how do you draw? What the point I'm trying to make? How do you draw a balance between
everything,
the competition and
everything you've said is what I do. There will always be somebody that has done better
than you. Yeah.
And that should not be a source of envy or strife, of jealousy, of backbiting. It should be a source of inspiration. It should also be a source of challenge. Okay, if this person can do it,
I can do it. You know,
I can do it. Exactly. You know, when you hear somebody's testimony, it is to let you know that God is not a respecter of persons. If he does it for one, he can do it for all. Good. So you have that one as inspiration. Two, there is no predicament or challenge that is facing you that is not common to other people. All right? So do we compare notes once in a while? We compare notes, especially with dealing with artisans. Do you understand? Yeah. So you compare notes.
So it's important for people in the creative, not just in the creative space, entrepreneurs, I guess, to always compare notes. Because you find out that there are a lot of people that they want to cover their script, so to speak.
A candle never loses its light by sharing.
By sharing, yeah.
All right? And I can tell you, it is more honorable and it is better to be part of somebody's success story than not to be part of history. Let
me share you one story that happened when I first started. I'm not sure I ever told you. I don't even know if I should even drag the person self. Anyways, so I mean, this is me, a greenhorn. I was at Tinubu Market. I saw one of the biggest, they're still pretty much, and I asked, they are twins in fashion, and I saw one of them. As they see me, I'm so excited. I'm like, so are you this person? First of all, it starts with who wants to know. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Anyways, I really would like to, I'd like to come to your office and you can show me the ropes and da. And he goes, I don't have time. If you see me again, something. And I was hurt though. I was hurt. I mean, but I took that as a learning curve that, you know, when I do become get to that level, it's to always be be friendly with people that are coming up the way, because I think life is, I always say that life is like a ladder. The people you idolize today might end up being your contemporaries
or subordinates. That's life.
Yeah. So
that's life.
So I don't understand. I've noticed that once people get to that point where, you know, it seems like
sometimes it's not about them getting to that point. Sometimes it's about the character they've always been, and what just happens is that fame, money, power
just amplifies.
That's all. So it's who they've always been.
But how come those ones then they still remain relevant over a long period of time? Like, you're like, this nasty person, how come you still have?
Because if the fundamentals are in place, if I'm coming to what am I coming for? Service delivery.
Yeah.
And if you're able to deliver every time and again,
everything else you do is,
you know, then of course you have tools that also enable.
Yeah.
You know, there's social media.
Yeah.
There's advertisements. There's brand endorsements. These are enablers. Do you understand?
Right.
The challenge is how sustainable.
Yes.
You know, how much longer can it be sustained?
Sustained.
The challenge is when you now talk about things like succession and succession planning. Those are the things.
That's where.
Yeah. So
Anyway, there's so many things I want to talk about, but I'll just skip it. I'm just going to start rounding up, because trust me, if we continue, this podcast will be. I'm sure this podcast is already going to be split into 2 episodes anyway. So I was going to say that has there ever been times where you want to give up, like, despite hearing from God that this is what you're supposed to do? Are there things that have come to you and you're like, man, I'm just going to pack this thing up and...
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the most challenging years for me as a person, as a family man, as a business, was 2010. They say when it rains, it pours.
It pours, yeah.
Everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Wow.
We had orders that I was doing in China. By the time I got back to Nigeria, the factory had cancelled that they couldn't do it. And of course, they will not refund. So literally, we had to... We were working...
That's locally produced.
We were working to refund monies. You know...
What did you do with the order? How did you tackle that?
I had to now, on my next trip, now see how I could convert it as a payment for something else.
Right.
You know, so you had that. There were just different issues. My God. You know, and I just said, maybe I didn't hear right. You know, maybe I didn't hear right.
So what kept you going?
The still small voice. You know, and the voice of reason. That's okay. What would you want to start doing now? After you put in so much.
So much, yeah.
So I said, okay. Then you always look at having people who are, for me, one of my spiritual fathers is the very respectable and respected Bishop Abioye. So I met him. Dad, I'm tired. And I narrated everything, and he just said, "The storm is over."
Baba, I mean,
did you hear what I said? You know, did you? I mean, I've just given this money. And I said, the storm is over. Peace. Is that it? And I lie not.
Everything just fell into place.
Everything fell into place. We renegotiated with the ones you can renegotiate, but the ones that insisted, we said, okay, we asked for time. And here we are today, 12 years
yeah.
You know, so even this year, for instance, the price of diesel. At the back end, we use an average of 600 liters
a week.
So from 200 and something naira to a liter to 700 and 800, and it was almost as if I no do, you know. Like, I no do. But then again, there's something my manager told me when I had a nasty accident about 2 years ago. I was fatigued. He offered to drive me. I said, no, you should not worry. And I slept off and I had an accident. And he said something. He said, sir, I'm going to tell you something, and take it but I'm going to tell you. I said, okay, what is it? He said, even if you're not mindful of yourself or your family, look around. You have at least 80 people under you who have at least 4 to 5 people under them.
Under them, yeah.
That is almost 400 and something
people
that depend on this business. Even if you don't care for yourself.
Care for the other people.
Care for the other people. And it hit me.
Wow.
It hit me and it hit me. So what am I trying to say? Sometimes when you want to give up, when you want to quit, you look at, it's not just about the naira and kobo. You look at the impact you're making. You look at the lives you are blessing. You look at the downlines. It's not just about that tailor or that staff, you look at the ripple effect. When they pray to God, for their daily hustle, when God answers, He actually answers by bringing you clients and bringing you open jobs and open opportunity and opportunities.
So it's really not about us.
It's
really
never about us.
Yeah.
And God expects us to be faithful, and that's why He said, the workman is worthy of his wages. All this, I too sharp, I too clever, I no one pay. Make Baba pay your staff. I receive salary when my staff receive salary, and we receive salary at the end of the month.
Time.
Yes, so if they don't get paid, I don't get paid. And as long as God sees, as long as for as many as are not even, let me talk to people who are not religious and don't believe in God. The universe works in your favor when you also work in its own interest.
Yeah.
You cannot fend for people. People get their livelihoods from you, their children, the school fees, the feeding, their wives. Things would work out.
Somehow.
Some way.
Word. Anyways, so what's the plan for Baldon next decade? Because I know that you're into footwear now.
Yes.
Any plans to expand on the leatherwear side?
Yeah, there will always be plans.
Yeah.
Of course, you want to do a lot more. Everything is also a function of timing.
Yeah.
So you ask yourself, okay, what next can we do? Can we open up branches? Can we? So that there are lots of things we have
on the pipeline.
In the pipeline.
Do you ever think you go into politics?
No.
So if a group of people say, no, you are a great guy, I mean, let us sponsor you.
So it's also, you like I said before, you need to have your own personal
convictions. Yeah.
Sun Tzu is a Chinese philosopher.
Yeah.
The art of war. 50% of life's battles are won when you know thyself. The other 50 are won when you know your enemy. Your enemy is your environment, the political space, your craft. I mean, it's all around you.
All around, yeah.
Now, your knowledge of both yourself and your enemies gives you 100% victory. So you should know what your likes, what your dislikes are. You should know what you are meant for and what you're not
meant to do. Yeah.
So.
And politics is not what you're meant to do.
Politics not for me.
But I was telling you, a vice chairman of your estate now. That's politics now.
Okay, so if you probe further, you find that I was forced.
You were silent.
I was coerced into it. I would always, to the best of my ability, give a lending hand to people in
government,
in authority.
Yeah.
And I do have quite a couple, that I talk to on the side. But it's not for me. I would rather just remain a mentor, an advisor, but I'm not mainstream. Yes. So
I mean, as a parting shot, what would you tell? First of all, Nigerian entrepreneurs, because I tell that Nigerian entrepreneurs have there's a certain anointing we have. And of course, with this, it saddens me also when I see that, with this exodus of people leaving, there are also entrepreneurs leaving to start in other countries.
Right.
What would you advise the Nigerian entrepreneur that's going through it right now, that is telling you that, man, I'm tired, I want to give up. I don't think this is made for this situation. What would you, as somebody who's done this for over 2 decades, what's that thing you would tell the person right now that's going through it?
Even this too shall pass. It gets darker just before dawn.
Word.
And tough times never last. Tough people do. You must have staying power. You don't begin to prepare for war during a time of war, right? So the strength that we need as entrepreneurs there are things that from your background, from your upbringing, that you also have
yeah,
right? And it now kicks in. And sometimes it's about critically looking at our businesses and re-engineering, reorganizing. There are things that you can't do on your own. You might need to get an external eye to help you, because you might think this is the best way and it might not be the best way. You might be able to be a bit more efficient, be a bit more effective, right? If you do it in another way. I've learned that in different ways. So I would just stay hanging there. Jackpine, it's a 50-50, because would you be able to live your dreams? How many people live their dreams when they try jackpot? You're busy trying to survive.
Yeah.
And so to survive, you don't just do one job. You're doing two jobs. Some people are morgue attendants. Some people are doing security. Some people are doing.
How easy or otherwise is it to run to be an entrepreneur, like from a foreign country over there?
It's not easy, because setting up. Don't forget that there are strict labor laws.
Right.
Strict labor laws. So they're not asking whether you made money, you don't make money. And the tax system is effective to a T. Right? So for a working system, it's because the systems have been made to work and it's at a cost. And it's at a very high cost.
Yeah.
So things you get away with in Nigeria, the opportunities are abounding here. Things you get away with in Nigeria, you can't do it over there. So a lot of times, I heard a message by a pastor, and he said, a lot of pastors, if they relocate abroad, they won't have business again. Because the lights, which there are no witches because of development. Do you understand? The deliverance you are doing, the person goes to the hospital and there's healthcare. So really, the car you are praying for, oh God, just go and go to a car dealer, and they organize an instrumental payment plan. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So a lot of pastors will not have messages. Now, what am I trying to say? A lot of times, we look for the easy way out. But maybe we need to be like that caterpillar that needs to go through that arduous, torturous process to become that beautiful butterfly. It's never easy. Diamonds, if you look at them when they come out black, and it's never easy. They go through a trying period. Same also is gold. It's never easy. But when they come out priceless. We have 200 million people. Even if you do your demography, anyhow you do of your fraction, there's no how you can't still access a 500 to 1,000 and 1 million market for your products. That's huge by all standards.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bros D. Thank you so much for sharing, for being open. Thank you personally to me for being my mentor. One day on this podcast, I'll tell my story of how we kind of told the same routes with, of course, we had the same dad, and it was like, you too, like your brother. It's like, I shouldn't have sent any of you to school. It became a lot easier for me because he had pretty much gotten the majority of the persecution, and they had seen that it had worked for him. So when I told, then I was also touring the same route. They were like, okay, since your brother is doing it, you to follow. So there are actually two fashion designers from our house, and he's just been an awesome person. Operates an open door policy. Every time I get stuck with an idea or trying to sort some things out, he's always there to listen. So thank you for being on our podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
You can follow him on Instagram. Follow Baldon on Instagram at Baldon Clothiers. That's BALDON CLOTHIERS. Of course, don't forget to follow the Coffee and Beans podcast at Coffee Beans Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Outspoken at Outspoken Clothiers. Till the next episode, this is Adesola signing out. Of course, I look forward to hearing from everybody on. Let's know what you want us to talk about. Let's know if this episode inspired you. Let's know if you have questions for Mr. Balogun. If you have questions, if you have comments, please, we want to hear it. We look forward to hearing from you. Until the next time, drink coffee, stay blessed.